Encountered Echo Summerhill. Sounds like a celebrity for sure, Echo.
It's real. It's real.
That's on your birth certificate? That was the first thing I wanted to know.
Yes.
Super interesting. Parents did a good job with your name.
Yes.
Okay. Give me 1 second while I share this into a couple groups. Try to give everybody a chance to tune in live if possible so that they may not have to wait for a few weeks until it comes out on iTunes and all that stuff. Okay, share to group. Share. All right, we're good. Awesome. Let's do it. I've even been doing the Instagram people a favor and pointing my camera in this little trusty tripod at the screen so that they could even tune into some of it for 24
There you
hours.
go. All over.
Yeah. Okay. We're live everywhere now. Do not break your phone, Noel. All right, let's do it. Okay. Record. Awesome. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and to introduce you guys to an awesome guest. We have Echo Summerhill, and I was just informed that it's on her birth certificate. So, yes, quite possibly the coolest name on the planet. Echo is in Texas. She's in Texas. She's in the Dallas area, and super excited to flow with her today. I came across her Instagram page not too long ago and reached out to her, sent her a voice message, told her that she was awesome, and asked her if she wanted to have a fun conversation with me today. And she obliged, and I'm super excited to just share some love and light with all of you guys. Summer is an abundance and wellness and spiritual teacher, coach, mentor, awesome human, and just excited to talk with her today. So without further ado for me, I want to introduce you guys to Echo, and if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all this good stuff.
Yeah, so thank you again for having me. Super excited. Anytime somebody asks me the question, like, what do you do? I'm always tongue-tied because I feel like it's so hard to explain all that I do. But in short, I am a spiritually guided entrepreneur. I own and have created several businesses. And one of them being that one of our main businesses is that I am a top leader within Young Living Essential Oils. We have about 100,000 members in our organization and growing by the thousands every month, where we guide them in a more natural and holistic mind, body, soul lifestyle, as well as being the creator of a brand called Soul Up, which I started kind of just as a passion project, and it has evolved into so much more, to where I run courses. I have 2 card decks that are being distributed all over the world to help people really connect to their highest self. We have swag. I do meditation teachings, all the things. And then about 5 months ago, I opened a brick and mortar location called Soul Up Sanctuary here in Weatherford, Texas, and I lead meditations. I teach alchemy, healing type of spiritual painting that's kind of hard to explain, as well as energy healing and cell crystals and all the fun stuff. I also am a wife to a very selfless firefighter that is still out there every single week doing his job, and the mommy to a beautiful and incredible 6-year-old little boy. And really my mission in life every day, and for most of my life, I've been a life coach for over a decade too, and really turned more to the spiritual side of things the last 5 years. And I really just want to help people connect deeper to their divinity and to connect to their highest self every single day, and to help people stop looking for all the external answers, So that's really my mission every day when I wake up. So
I love it. What an awesome start to this conversation. And you said some things. If you guys are watching this on video, which everybody right now is, when you mentioned, I did not know that you were a part of Young Living and very familiar with, the marketing, word of mouth marketing, whatever we want to call it. I had a huge team at one point, still have a pretty big team, but not to that. My mouth went, wow, when she said
Yeah.
100,000 people on her team. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I
we're
love it.
very blessed.
Yes. No, that's amazing. And if you're the leader, then I already know what impact that is being made because, what I'm most thankful about that industry is that how it's rooted in personal growth and personal development. And it's because you have these volunteer entrepreneurs, nobody can be hired or fired. And it takes a level of wanting to allow yourself to evolve and, become an even better version of yourself constantly. And that's really what we're all here to do. Allow our soul up, allow our souls to evolve. And, it's going to evolve anyway. If we can do that consciously and allow it to, do it that way. It's a lot more fun, I found. I love it. Well, question that I have for you then, which is I'm always super curious about, like, I know we all come in here into this life as little unconditional loving little babies and just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, just, super present, just looking around. And then for a lot of us, for a time, we may forget, who we truly are and, start comparing ourselves and asking, are we enough? And, all of those sorts of things. And then the light bulb can come on, which I'm so happy about. It's a big reason why I do what I do, and so many does what they do what they do. So for you, like, how did that look like for you? Is like, did you go from unconditional loving little baby and just never forgot who you truly are and just evolved all the way through, or was there a different set of circumstances?
Yeah, there were. If you would have talked to me about 5 years ago, you would have met not a different human being, but somebody that did not know who she was. And I think a lot of it, my story, it's funny, I look back now where I am in my spiritual journey and, you're talking about knowing who you are. And I know you mean that on like a soul level, a divinity level, and looking back and really looking at young years, like 5 to like 10, I knew who I was. But that got squished, like you said, the world, the life. And I had a really rough upbringing in human terms. My husband and I both did. We had really traumatic childhoods with a lot of abuse and neglect. And I think that when you go through really hard times, you do forget who you are because you're too busy being told what you should be or who you are or what you're not really in this world, right? And so for a long time, I didn't know who I was. I didn't have a connection to, my divine being. And over the last, I really dove super deep into the spiritual journey like 3 years ago to the point where I was like, this is all I'm going to do in the sense of taking care of myself. This is how I'm going to take care of myself. This is how I'm going to heal. And it happened over, a little bit, but, over 2 years ago, I decided one morning I woke up and I said, I have an alcohol problem and I'm drinking too much and I'm seeing things when I'm drinking and like all these things were like happening to me. And I was like, and I had a litlittle boy, I have a little baby and a husband and like I was already successful in my businesses and all of that. So it was one of those things like, okay, what am I numbing? And so that kind of started this path of like, okay, let's strip this away. Let's take this away. So I quit drinking cold turkey. I wasn't drinking every night, but when I did drink, it was in excess. And so when I quit drinking, I started to like peel back these layers and I could actually see with more clarity and I was gaining consciousness, so to speak. And so that really put me on this path of like, okay, now how deep can I go? How can I connect to my higher self? And then I was introduced to some energetic healers and in Florida actually. And I started to get into that world and I was like, wow, like this speaks to me. This speaks to me more than the church I was forced to go to as a child and never felt connected to the church, but was always forced to go there by like, an alcoholic mother that was struggling with her own stuff and just all of this stuff. And so when I found energy healing and the spiritual world, my life was forever changed and I just haven't looked back. And every day, as you know, every day is a new adventure. It's not like you go, oh, I'm awake and I don't have any issues. It's like, no, you are still peeling back those layers day by day. And so to answer your question in more short, no, I was not always woke, but now I'm so blessed that I am. Looking back, I'm like, who was that? But yeah.
I love it. No, I love how you described all of that and how you were able to share that. And it just gives everybody out there just a reminder that, most of us are going to have, our different challenges in our lives, a lot of us in our younger years and, maybe even right now out there. And it's just great to just remember that, all of us are always going to be evolving. And for the people that are attracted to, podcasts like these or any type of personal growth, I mean, it's awesome because the only reason I do what I do, Echo, is to help people have the light bulb come back on so that, because once we have the awareness, now we have the power of choice. And I'm not going to tell you out there what you should or shouldn't choose for your life about anything. Like, I just won't hear that come from me. I'm very excited, though, once someone can realize that, like you mentioned, like as human beings, a lot before we become aware of what's going on, a lot of us are trying to manipulate the external in order to feel something on the inside. And I was like gold medalist at this a decade ago, like probably just extreme version, because I always thought my life was going to go a certain path, be a professional athlete, all this stuff, and then I hurt myself and couldn't. So then life became about, well, I have to find that success somewhere. So lots of unhappy moments in the present. And I'm sure a lot of us have, versions of trying to, change the outside to feel good on the inside. And when we can discover that it's the other way around, that if we can, allow ourselves to evolve and to be able to reflect the inside out into the external world, life's a lot more easy, fun, the way it's, we meant it to be when we came here. So I love what you highlighted. So much fun. Well, what like right now, like we're recording this, what are we, first week, I think, in April still? Second week, I don't know, somewhere. We're somewhere in April 2020 for those of you listening to this 20 years from now. Yes, we're in April 2020, and interesting time in humanity, and a challenging time, some may call it, and also an exciting time, others may think, as I do, as far as where we're evolving to and questions that people are asking now of themselves as far as, what parts of life do they want to see involved, whether it be their relationships or their health or their career or whatever it might be. What are you excited about right now, whether it be individually or for humanity, or what's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm super, I'm very aware and observant of what's going on in the world and all the fear that's seeding the planet and all of that. But on an energetic, spiritual level, I'm sure like you, it's like, I'm excited. Like this is people, like you said, people are asking questions. People are waking up. People are actually being forced in a sense to turn inward and to self-isolate some so that hopefully, I mean, not everyone, some people are just diving off and watching hours of Netflix all day, but, hopefully people, from what I'm seeing, a lot of people are actually going, okay, well, what can I do to better my life right now? What direction do I want to take in my life? Because obviously my 9 to 5 is on hold right now, or, this hasn't been working for me, or I'm losing my mind like right now. What can I do? And so I'm excited because I feel like this is almost, on an energetic, wouldn't call it a reset, but it's like a reset for a lot of people. And it's a time for us as a planet to heal more and to go up in frequency and to really peel back those layers that have been holding us back for ever, so I'm excited. I think it's just like, it's like a fresh new start. I mean, I feel like I was like born for quarantine though. Like I'm such a homebody, and besides like videos, I'm an introvert, believe it or not. So I always say I've been prepping for quarantine for a long time, so it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, I love it. And I hope and I pray that people are really using this time to their benefit, not like you said, not what I think they should be doing, but like what benefits them and what feels in alignment to them.
Absolutely. I love it. And yes, the most challenging part of this experience for me, Echo, has been just, I'm an extreme extrovert. So like the social distancing thing, I actually just had someone criticizing me a few minutes ago on one of my posts on Facebook because I wasn't wearing a mask when I was going out for like a long run. So somebody's going to criticize. It's okay. Yeah. Maybe they're watching this now. I still love you. It's all good. Yeah. It's just, for me, it was having to, just adjust to that. And at the same time, like I love knowing this about life. Like for any of us, like we can ask any questions to the universe as far as those areas that we just mentioned that maybe you want to see evolve and change. And we can ask the question, how can this happen? How can I change this area? And maybe you don't know the answer right there that second, but we can be really excited whenever we ask a question, an empowering question. The questions that I wouldn't ask out there is, why do I not have any money? Or why am I always getting sick? Or, all these why questions. It's a variable. It could be a lot of different reasons. So
Right.
the important thing to know is anything that's already physically manifested, whether it be a bank account or a health issue or a relationship, like that's giving us clarity as far as what we would like. Like more of it, all of us are more clear as to today as far as what we like, want, don't want than we've ever been because of all of those life experiences. So for us to manifest anything new, whether it be a new health, experience or relationship or financial, experience, whatever it is, we have to get ourselves into the frequency, into the state of being of that newness, even though right now it doesn't exist physically. And then we can attract the answers of how and the people that need to come into our experience to enjoy life with or whatever it might be. So I don't know how that had anything to do with the person criticizing me for being out, but maybe just that's just what allowed all that flowed out. So thank you for actually putting that on Facebook because I just shared all that because of that message.
Yeah, and I think that you made a really good point too, like what we can manifest and what we want, but then also like what we're realizing, and a lot of people are realizing what we don't need, right? What's not needed in the world for our own personal lives, right? And then like you said, what we desire. But a lot of people, we've been wrapped up in this material, physical, tangible world, and people are fighting over toilet paper, right? And so I think it's realizing like, okay, like, I mean, we've only got like 3 rolls left and there's none in our small town, but I'm like, well, we can cut up t-shirts. We will make this work. I got baby wipes. Like we will make this work. But like, I think people are realizing and hopefully realizing like there's so much that's not needed. And that's stuff that you can like get out of your way, to make more room for the desires of your heart,
Absolutely. I love that. The toilet paper thing has been interesting. That hasn't been a part of my experience. Maybe because there's like a Walgreens like right over here, so maybe not a place that most people would think to get it, but it's so close to me that's just where I'm used to. So they didn't have the normal brand that I like. That was gone, but they had the random ones. Like I haven't gotten into those yet. I'll keep you guys posted how those are, but that's my backup supply. So interesting. Yeah. So I love what you're saying though. And for all of us, I'm just excited for everybody out there, like whatever, direction you're choosing to let evolve, whatever you're letting evolve in your life right now, it's just going to inspire those around that also have areas in their life that they want to evolve. And I always like to remind people that the best way for any of us to help any of the rest of us is to first just be the light, be the example of, if you want to help others be happy, like be happy yourself, be healthy yourself. And you can inspire people and, share with them some things that you may have become aware of that can uplift them, and then that can ripple out. And that's what I'm just hoping for everybody right now is, even though right now doesn't have to be the most blissful time you've ever had in your life, you could have moments of bliss right now for sure. I've had some really fun moments during this whole, experience, and it also doesn't have to be like the most like powerless and depressing time of our life either. That's where the choice comes in. So if we can be aware of that, then, I just rooting for you guys to choose whatever feels best for you. If it's some moments of sadness and depression, so be it. Like I'm not going to say you're right or wrong for it. Just be aware of it, and then maybe you might choose something else the next day or the next moment or whenever it is. So
yeah, encouraging people to seek gratitude, like seek the things you can be grateful for is something I've been coaching on for over a decade as a life coach, but really like even more so now, like when people, I'm like, it's one of the easiest little tools if you're having a bad day, like find 3, even if it's the tiniest things to be grateful for and focus on those, And I love what you said about, how everybody's kind of experiencing their own thing. If you want to be sad, depressed, like no judgment, because that's one of the things that I'm noticing a lot, and that's a judgment, noticing, but like I'm seeing so much judgment out there, and it's so interesting to me, all these people attacking each other, like you got, for not wearing a mask, or, you're not social distancing or whatever, and it's just not helpful. And so for like what energetically is happening. And so I'm really encouraging a lot of my team and, my Soul Up community to really just focus on clearing that judgment, out so that you're not contributing to lowering the frequency.
I love it. And here's a side note that Echo just inspired me to share, and just a great reminder, whether there's a virus circulating the planet or not in what we would consider to be normal times, if we find ourselves judging or condemning or blaming or being just an angry, a dense energy, in those moments you actually are more of a frequency match to illness and disease. Because if you can ask yourself, how would you feel if you had the illness? Or will you feel really frustrated, or like just maybe a little bit powerless? Like those are the energies that you would feel. So if you're living that out right now by being critical or being blaming or judging, again, I'm not going to tell you that there's anything wrong with that. It's part of the human experience, but that's just, you're in alignment with illness and disease, whether there's a virus going on or not. Right now, it just seems to be heightened, and there's a lot of fear that's heightening it. So same thing, like when you're fearful, like you're in that match. So to be a match to wellness and well-being, like that's more of like being at peace. That's more of just being love and just being accepting and just not having to know all the answers, being optimistic that everything is working out for you, your loved ones, for humanity. And now you're a frequency match to being well-being, and that's at all times also. So I'm not wearing a mask because I'm a frequency match to well-being, and I have been for the last 8 years, which is why I haven't got sick for 8 years. So
that's like, I mean, that goes back to law of attraction. Like what you put out is what's going to keep coming back. So if you're putting judgment out, you're going to keep getting judged. You put fear out, you're going to keep getting fear. Like walking around in fear, that's what's going to attract, like you said, disease and sickness and illness and all of that. And I mean, that's proven, anger is held in the liver and, all the things, right? So it's like attracts like 100%.
For sure. And I always like to make sure, because like we mentioned earlier, if something's already physically manifested, I'm not really one that wants to go down the rabbit hole of let's figure out all the reasons why, because there's so many variables. Like our soul could have just already had a plan to experience a hardship, a handicap, or a disability to be able to evolve while here. So all the reasons why, like I don't get into that because that's not for me to know. Like I'm not the creator of all. Like I can't tell you why. And at the same time, I know how to manifest what we want from here. Which the only reason that we are clear, like we talked about, is because of the physical manifestation. That's why we're clear about what we now want to see. So, I mean, we really get to choose. Focus more on what's already manifested, which that energy work has already been done. Like if it's already here, like I've never met anyone or heard a story of anyone that could take like this chair or like all the chairs on the planet and like de-manifest them to where now we don't have any more chairs. Like you either create or create more of what is, but we don't. No, but you can't take away what's already. You just create new.
Right.
So no, I'm excited for people to focus on what is wanted and what they do desire, so that we can create more of that, and we all get to share in those joys and those creations. And we're all sharing this planet in 2020 and beyond for a reason. So I want everybody to create cool stuff, whatever that means to them, whether it's cool families or cool technology or whatever it is. It just makes the whole experience for all of us much more enjoyable because we're all adding to the collective. So,
without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I love it. Fun conversation so far. I knew we would have fun. Your vibe is awesome. Like I enjoyed your stories leading up to this. You just come off flowing. I was like, her energy is awesome. We're gonna have so much fun.
Thank you.
So, question I have for you that I always ask everybody, and I'm knowing that the internet is like gonna live on probably for quite some time, and someone could listen to this episode 50 years from now. Like who knows when they'll tune in. You've been sharing like throughout the whole time, but anything that is just super important for you to share, like with your community or with whoever, or anything come out, any subject you feel will make an impact on someone, whether they watch this now or 50 years from now, anything that's coming through you that you want to share.
Yeah, so a couple of things, but the first thing, and you kind of touched on it about the soul a second ago, but really just, I don't know, finding that peace within yourself that everything has already been like planned and created for you from your soul. And that's my belief system, that when you come into body, that your life is already beautifully divine, how it's supposed to. And for me personally, through the trauma that I've experienced in my life and years of, trauma, And even during those traumatic times, something innately in me, now knowing my soul, was always telling me that everything was going to be okay. And granted, there's things that happen in life that in those moments you're like, oh my gosh, this is not okay. But looking back and then knowing that all I went through is what brought me right here to this moment, to this part of my life, to this strength that I have, to this, passion for helping others, all of this. Like, I chose to create the path that was, to benefit for my highest good. Not everyone's going to experience that. Some people are going to experience trauma. I have friends that have experienced trauma, and it took them down a different path, not a wrong path, but a different path, right? But I think if we can try to every day know that everything is divine and is exactly how it's supposed to be, like you said, for your soul's evolution and the evolution of yourself and your being in this lifetime, that you can have such peace with that. And I know that it's a cliche that sometimes people, I use being one of them, I used to cringe, like, it's happening for a reason. But it truly is happening exactly as it's supposed to. And yeah, you have some free will to play with and to work with, but knowing, I challenge people watching this right now that have been through struggles in their life. And one of my mottos is struggles produce strength. And if you can look back and look at those struggles and go, wow, I came out of that, right? The struggles that you've already came out of. And then knowing that the struggles you go through in the future, because it's life, that's a common denominator. There's going to be things that are put into your path that might not feel the greatest. Knowing that you've already overcome those things that you've pinpointed, you can overcome those too, and you will, right? And so knowing that everything is so divine and that your path is exactly as it is something that I teach my students and my members all the time. It's really embracing that, yeah, it may not feel good right this second, but what can I learn from it? Because I truly believe that every struggle, there's a teaching there. It's a lesson for you to, like you said, evolve through and to grow through and to learn, and just, you can make that choice, right? Because harboring in the low frequencies of like, oh my gosh, this is so scary, I get it, or this sucks, it sucks, is only going to create more of that, versus shifting that mindset and being grateful for what you're going through, because you know that it can give you strength or perseverance or whatever it is that you need. So that's definitely a huge message that I'm trying to teach right now, is to just really be grateful. And that goes with like the time we're in, like you said, whoever watches this, whenever March 2020, April 2020, however many months this lasts, what's going on the planet right now is divine. Like, a lot of people are seeing it different ways, and that's for their soul's, purpose to see it whichever way they want. But right now it's divine. It's happening exactly as it's supposed to happen. And really leaning into that versus fighting it will make life so much easier. So that's definitely number one. And then number two is something that I always preach, that love is the only truth. And the sooner that you can see, I'm not talking about the emotion of love, I'm talking about the frequency of love, the highest healing frequency that we have access to, and really seeing everyone and everything through the eyes of love. The people, the murderers, the rapists, the politicians, like whatever you are out there, the situation, like seeing it as that divinity, as divine, and really seeing people through the eyes of love, no matter, you don't have to like everyone, but not having that judgment, not letting the ego get in the way of telling you that they're different, because all that is separation. We're all souls. And I think that if we can connect to that, then there would be a lot less judgment and ego and all of these things disrupting and causing more of that separation. So focusing on love is the only truth. Love is the only truth. So
that's so awesome, Echo. Like I keep wanting to call you Summer, which is like an equally awesome name. So you have like awesome name. So I love what you just said so much. And you guys, when this episode comes out, like rewind and listen to Echo's last part again. That was so good. Like so many different. The way that she just shared that, and you inspired me so much in both of those, number one and number two. Just with number one, like really for all of us, like if we can just realize that all of this, trauma that we've experienced, the challenges, like we just wouldn't be the humans that we are today without any of it. I love that. The struggle gives us strength. It's so true. So we could think that we want to like wipe away all of those things, and maybe you would say, I'll wipe those things away. You'd be a different human. Like you wouldn't have those lessons. You wouldn't have that clarity as far as what you like, don't like, want, and don't want. So for you to be on the path that you're on, you wouldn't be, but you need some other challenges, some other struggles in order for you to evolve, differently. So it's perfect for you. It's divine, like Echo said. I mean, it's just. I'm not saying that it's ever going to be like blissful during the middle of like a trauma. It probably won't be, but we can get to the point where we recognize it as maybe a blessing in disguise. I think that's an awesome like twist. Like whoever first started saying that, like that they were on the right path, because they are. Just we don't know what the actual specific of the blessing are typically until we move through it, and we can look back and say, oh, because of this happening, now look at all these things that have evolved, and that's what's going to happen right now. It's what's happening right now with our planet, and we don't know what all the things that are going to come out of it, but we will be able to look back and say, wow, this was created because of this, and this was created because of this, and look at how much more connected we all now realize that we are because of this. So I love that so much. And leading to the second thing that you shared as far as just love being all there is, I mean, it's just universal truth. And like when we can just know that we're all just different, even though we look at Echo and say that's Echo, and you look at Noel and say that's Noel, and whoever you are out there, these are just like the physical like expressions of the exact same soul, spirit, non-physical energy that is flowing through who all of us are. And so we're just all just different waves in the same ocean that makes up all that is. So the waves may look different sizes, different shapes, but it's still the same like powerful energy flowing through them. And that's you all of there out there. So we can, instead of condemning each other, that's condemning someone that may be going through a rough time right now in life. Maybe they're angry about some things, upset about some things, feeling depressed. Knowing that since we're human as well, like we have the capability of feeling those same emotions. So instead of judging them, making them wrong for them, we can have compassion, because again, that's just different expression of the same ocean. Like the waves aren't out there jealous of each other because that wave is bigger over in Hawaii than it is in Miami. We don't really have waves here in Miami, but they're not jealous of the Hawaiian waves. Like it's just another wave that makes up all the yeah. So I just love that so much, because if we can just realize that we are just made up of the same non-physical stuff, and we're just expressing it differently, we can help each other and root for each other and want to see each other doing well, because it just adds to the total experience that we all get to have here. And if you want to know, like, and I love how you clarify, because a lot of times we'll say I love you and all these things, but we're in those moments we're more talking about the emotion of love. And if that person took a lie detector test, I'm sure they would pass saying that they love this person. And at the same time, are we being loved in the moment is a different question, because even though I might pass the lie detector when I say I love this person, if I'm yelling at them or if I'm hitting them or throwing something at them, that's not the frequency of love right now. We're not being loved in that moment. So when we're connected with all that is God, universe, love, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it, infinite intelligence. We can trust the thoughts that we have from that frequency, the words from that frequency. None of us are ever going to say a mean, hateful, jerk word from a loving frequency. So if you are, don't try to think that you're loving that moment. In that moment, you're in the jerk frequency. So It's just good to be aware of, and I'm so happy that you pointed these out.
Yeah, I like to say that love is my superpower, and one of the things that I've learned on my journey is, the separation that does come with, I mentioned the murderers and the rapists and the politicians. I don't mean to categorize those together. It's just like I'm just like stating things that I think people might be triggered by, right? Or like not feel love for. And I think, I always say love is my superpower, because, one of the most powerful things you can do is say that somebody turns around and punches you in the stomach, and you know that you are connected, right? When you can turn around and pray for them and send them a healing and send them love, instead of turning around and reacting and lowering yourself to that frequency, right? So like we have an opportunity to really help take the frequency of the planet up by staying in that love frequency, and with all that we have going on, and going back to the everything's divine. Like I always ask my members and my students, like, when this is all over, for those watching the 2020 stuff, when this is all over, like, when you look back, how do you want to say that you handled yourself during this time? In life in general, really, but like during this international crisis, how do you want to look back and say that you handled it? Like, how did you grow through it? If you want to grow, but how did you handle yourself? And a lot of times that makes people go, oh, well, I'm not handling it very great right now, so maybe I should like shift that, so it gets people thinking.
Absolutely. I'm all about the awareness of it. Like I love to know that once we're aware of just really the only thing that any of us can control is like right now, this moment, which is all that exists. Like what's my vibe, frequency, energy, mood that I'm bringing here and now. And once that like matters to us, and we can ask questions like, how am I handling this? And not make yourself wrong for it because you just feel worse if you do, but just the awareness that you get really excited about it, because no matter what the answer is, this is where you are. And now the next question can be, where would I like to be? How would I like to handle this? Well, what direction would I like to go? And that's such an empowering question that now all we have to do is just start moving in that direction from where we are with what we have. And you'll just keep moving in that direction. Like momentum is a beautiful thing, like for all of us. Like energy is never stagnant. I never let people label themselves around me. I'm a happy person. I'm an anxious person. I'm a depressed person. The answer to that is sometimes. Like nobody's ever just one way. You could be depressed like 23 hours out of the day, and that 1 hour that you're watching funny YouTube videos, you're actually not depressed. You're not laughing and joking. Your frequency is different. So I love what you're saying. Again, I don't remember why I started saying that. I just like flow that out from inspiration from you. Yeah, but I appreciate this conversation so much. Anything that you want to share with the audience as far as you want them to know that you have going on, or any of that stuff?
Yeah, I'd like to just offer, so meditation is a big deal for me. I teach meditation live, and then I do in person, and then I do a lot of online stuff. And I actually have a free meditation series on my website that anybody can go and snag. It's just at echosummerhill.com, and it's up in the top right-hand corner. It'll say free meditation series or meditation series or something. So, for people to snag that, because I think during this time, again, going inward and figuring out what you desire, not what Noelle or Echo or Joe or whatever desire for your life, like figuring out what you desire and what you need to get into alignment with to benefit your highest self. And meditation for me is a really great opportunity to connect with my soul on a deeper level, connect with source and, my healing team and all of that. And so really, I love offering meditation, like after meditation, to people, because I think it's a great way to really tap in. So I would love to offer that to your audience and our audiences, just for another tool in their toolbox. Is meditation is right up there with one of my favorite practices in my spiritual journey, for sure.
Thank you for offering that. I'm so happy that you brought up meditation. Like without it, my life would be totally different trajectory. Like, for many reasons. And I'm happy you said this also, because you reminded me of something that you inspired me earlier in the episode, as far as the importance of like gratitude. If we can get into a practice for all of us, because a lot of us get in habits of like the way that we wake up, all of us are going to think a first thought, a second thought, and a third thought. And, sometimes we're not consciously deciding to be grateful for waking up, be grateful to have a roof over our head, to have food to eat, which might just seem, slight, but what you're doing is reaching for things to be grateful for, especially early in the day with your first few thoughts. You're setting your frequency already in a place of gratitude, which is an awesome place to live anytime. More importantly for me, I can notice if I'm starting the day in a grateful frequency, or appreciating, or just excited for the day, it's an obvious drop if I start being worried about something, or anxious like that, or frustrated. Like that doesn't feel the same, and anybody can pick up on that. It's a little bit more challenging if you just start the day off frustrated or worried, like, oh, it's going to be a crazy day and all these things. You can live your whole day that way and it just seemed normal. It's just a rougher go. So with meditation, though, I've taken it a step further. In my practice, I'll get up, I use the bathroom, drink some water, and then I'll meditate, not for a ton of time, but long enough to where I can feel connected, tapped in, connected with source, to where I'm at peace. Like sometimes the momentum will carry it further than peace. I don't require that, but once I know I'm connected, but download comes in where it's like, ooh, that's a really good idea, then I'm writing it down and my meditation is over. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 15 minutes, whatever it is. But I'm so happy that you brought that up. Definitely take advantage of that as far as what Echo just shared as far as meditation goes. I'm hearing a few people, more than a few, that have said what they've been doing during this like extra time because they don't have to run and go to work. They've been starting like a meditation practice, which is awesome. Like that's a really great place to start for any of us. Your life will be shifted for sure.
Absolutely. And, I've been an overachiever my whole life. And I've obviously the last few years really slowed down because of my meditation practice and my spiritual journey. But for a long time, like being an overachiever, and you were an athlete and I was an athlete growing up, and when you have that mindset, it's, for me, my mind would not stop, like shut up. It just would not stop ever. And so meditation in the beginning was very difficult for me. Like it was a 2-minute thing. And that's why I teach on it so much now, because I want people to realize you're not going to screw it up. Like just try and just start, even if you can literally start with 60 seconds of silence. Like you have to, like, it's called a meditation practice for a reason, right? It's not meditation expert. It's like meditation practice. Even when you've been doing it for years and years, it's still a practice and a way to learn about yourself. But I know for me, it's helped so much with just clearing out the noise that my brain would just be in overload all the time.
Absolutely. And yours that you're offering obviously are guided meditations. So that's what I needed, because I'm the same as you. Like it was really tough for me to just like decide to meditate, and like I actually didn't think that this, and I hear this a lot, like I'm just not a meditator. Like I thought that was me. Like that's just not my flow. I'd rather just listen to some personal development, and then that'll be, which could be a form of meditation too. But as far as what we're talking about, like I needed the guided at first to get in the flow of it. And something that came out of that, which I love knowing this and sharing this with people, is we can ask questions to the universe, like, going into meditation or, just anytime. And a lot of times receive those answers during meditation, or in this particular guided, one of the questions was to show me blind spots, like, shadow spots that I didn't know that were affecting my energy, as I was living my life, and became aware of some things that just being critical of me or being critical of others that I wasn't aware of, that I've been doing since I was a little kid, just in competitive sports and talking trash to each other, and just how I was like mentally just talking trash basically all day and didn't realize it. So now it's like, instead of having to be oblivious to that and being, unconscious of that, if I notice myself being critical of myself or any others, the first thought I can say, stop it, Noah. Like it doesn't have to like go further than that. Just stop it.
Yeah, and no, that's such a good point, and that goes back to that love is the only truth, and that separation, because being an athlete or an overachiever or whatever, like I was super competitive too, and I used to, having a 6-year-old son, even like when he was like 2 or 3, when he was starting sports, I would catch myself judging, like, those participation awards are so stupid, like, no, you need to win, and like, that's like the mentality. And now I'm like, oh, participation award, that's so fun. Like you tried, like that's fine, So it's like, because the competition can cause so much separation, and it's our ego telling us, one's better than the other or whatever. And so it's a fine line in that realm of, thought.
Summer, you've done this twice, and I'm just going to jokingly point this out. I'm not a gambling man, but if I had to bet, you've actually punched, like, you've done boxing before, or you punched something like your form. When she hit it the first time, it was so flush. I was like, I recognize it because I do this part of life in sport. So, but am I right on this?
No, I was an athlete all growing up, and definitely have hit a few boxing and bags and people.
I suspected the such, at least the bags, but I mean, maybe the people. I love it. Well, this has been so much fun, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your loving vibes with the audience. I know everybody is going to enjoy this episode for sure, and it's been fun. A conversation I would have wanted to have with you anyway, and I'm a recording snob now. I just want it all recorded and shared. So.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful that reached out and asked, and again, love your message and your mission in life, and just happy to link arms with people like you, for sure.
Absolutely. No, likewise. We're reflections, and it's just fun to be able to, because maybe stuff that I might share on multiple episodes, someone might need to hear it from you, and they'd be like, oh, like I get it now. So I just really value what all of us have to offer and have to share, because we've all lived such different life experiences, and when we can package those life experiences and share, through the connection that all of us truly are, and we can share through that lens, through those life experiences, it can be so impactful for so many people. So I love collaborating and like combining like forces. Like I like the phrase "many hands makes light work." everything that I'm doing is a collaboration. So
yes, well, you're doing great work for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Likewise, you guys share this episode. It will impact people for sure. Thank you for those who are tuning in live. I'm going to keep doing these live all throughout this time where people seem to have more time to go within and to evolve. So anything I can help with that as far as introducing you guys to awesome humans, I'm going to keep doing it. And definitely rate and review those of you guys that already have. I appreciate you. And there's no rule on iTunes. I just discovered you can leave more than one review. So feel free to go in there and say, that Echo Summerhill human was so awesome. Like, I'll screenshot it and I'll like send it to her. That'll make her feel happy. And I just appreciate you guys all out there and sending you guys all love, positive, happy, healthy, abundant vibes whenever you hear this now or 50 years from now. We're still here thriving. Look us up. Say hi. And we'll talk to you guys soon in another episode. Have an amazing day whenever you're hearing this. Awesome. So much fun, Summer. Summer. Echo, you're awesome. Here,
Thank you so much.
Stop the stream and